name is Dr. Aidan Elliott and this is the Complete Guide to Shakespeare. Welcome to the third video of 4 designed to give you an understanding of the main themes in Shakespeare's tragedy Romeo and Juliet. The third theme is death. I'll discuss its role in the story and highlight key quotes that you can use in tests, essays and examinations. The words death and dead are mentioned 81 times in Romeo and Juliet. Only one play, Richard III, has more mentions. The first time we hear about death comes in the prologue. Romeo and Juliet are the lovers whose misadventured, piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. This is important because what we hear first, called the primacy effect, shapes the way we think about the rest of the story. Death becomes a prominent idea because it is the only way the Capulet-Montague dispute can be settled. Shortly after, death is mentioned again by a character who's deeply associated with the subject, Tibalt. What? Art thou drawn among these heartless hinds? Turn thee, Benvolio, look upon thy death. Here Tibalt seems to style himself metaphorically as death. Hinds are female deer, and heartless, whilst meaning a lack of courage, is also a pun on hart, a word for a male deer who leads the herd. So he's saying that the Montague men are like women, who lack both courage and leader. Even in the midst of the great love scene between Romeo and Juliet in Act 2, Scene 2, it's not coincidental that Juliet mentions that being found on her family's land is fatal. The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art. The place itself becomes the embodiment of death, and reminds us even in a love scene that the threat of death is ever present. The juxtaposition of love and death occurs again at the end of Act 2, as Romeo and Juliet prepare to marry. Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he dare. This is prophetic, because death will eventually devour the lovers at the end of the play. Later, when Juliet learns that Romeo has been banished from Verona, she personifies death as the husband who will metaphorically take her virginity. I'll to my wedding bed, and death, not Romeo, take my maidenhead. The personalising of death makes it less of an abstract concept. It becomes another character, a threatening presence, overstepping its conventional boundaries. And when Juliet's dead body is discovered by her father, simile and metaphor are used in a powerful combination. Death lies on her like an untimely frost upon the sweetest flower of all the field. A personified death lies on Juliet's body like an unnatural frost, and the metaphor sweetest flower suggests Juliet is a flower being killed when the world should be enjoying her beauty. Death is then personified as an illicit lover when Capulet tells Paris, who was to be his son-in-law, O son, the night before your wedding day hath death lain with thy wife. There she lies, flower as she was, deflowered by him. Now death is fully personified as a sexualized being, and this imagery is merged with the nature imagery. The image of Juliet as a flower is now seen alongside deflowering, which means the taking of a girl's virginity. Romeo then juxtaposes images of a mouth and a womb to describe the tomb where Juliet lies as a place that eats bodies, and where ironically death is born. Thou detestable maw, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth, thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food. A maw is a mouth, And we hear that death has gorged itself or swallowed a lot quickly on something that should have been eaten delicately and slowly. Juliet here is the dearest morsel or small amount of special food. As he opens the doors of the crypt, he opens those rotten jaws again, reinforcing the idea of revulsion, and now he will cram himself down death's throat. He is more food for death's womb. And as the play draws to a close, we have the development of earlier imagery. Romeo comes face to face with Juliet, and the idea of death as her lover, replacing him, comes into his mind. Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean, abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? Romeo draws our attention to a conundrum. Death is both unsubstantial, it has no physical substance, yet simultaneously is embodied as a thin or lean abhorred monster, abhorred meaning disgusting or hated. And this monster is imprisoning Juliet as his lover. A paramour is a lover who's already married to someone else, in this case Romeo. And when the tragedy reaches its climax, Romeo combines a number of images already used and adds a new idea. Arms take your last embrace, and lips, O you, the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Breath is the essence of life, and lips no longer kiss, but seal or ratify an eternal or dateless agreement with death, who now engrosses or has exclusive possession of the dead. So do look out for some of these features as you read, watch and study the play, and I hope this brief video has given you some new insights that will help you to get greater enjoyment from Romeo and Juliet. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe now so that you never miss any of my future posts.